50 years since Cyclone Tracy changed Darwin forever. All right, first video for Darwin here on the channel. Unfortunately, we're going to be talking about something that absolutely changed the entire city. I don't know much about Darwin, but I do know about cyclones. Cyclones, I'm pretty sure, are just equivalent of our hurricanes that we have here in the States. I don't think there's too much difference besides them other than the name. Maybe someone can correct me in the comments below, but yeah, I'm really curious to check this one out. Natural disasters are wild. We have tons of hurricanes here, not necessarily in Tennessee where I live. We'll get like the tail end of the hurricane when it comes through and hits the coast. We do have tornadoes though, really, really intense tornadoes. One hit from about a mile where my house is. So yeah, I'm fascinated. I've been through tons of wildfires, which I know Australia has as well, but cyclones, let's see what we got going on here. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. Smash the like button. Let's dive in. 74.
A cyclone is imminent. Batten down your house. Remain calm and stay inside.
Damn. Oh, sweet. We're getting real recordings. Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Jeez. It just absolutely obliterated everything.
I lost my flat, I lost my house, I lost my property, I lost everything I got. But when you believe
Oh, dude, you're gonna kill me right now.
My house is wrecked. There were people killed. Babies.
There are more than 24 aircraft here, all in various states of disarray. And have a look at this over here.
I've seen Berlin and London straight after the war. In Darwin, every building has been damaged. Darwin is virtually rubble. I've never seen anywhere anything like this in the world.
Holy shit.
The most urgent requirement now will be to get as many people out of Darwin as possible.
Christmas
Yeah, I
Day.
mean, like, even when, oh my God, don't tell me that this happened on Christmas Day. Even like when it hits an entire city like this, like even the shelters are absolutely destroyed, right? You know, usually like when we have a major disaster, they'll hold up shelters in schools or just large facilities. But something like this, it's like that got absolutely obliterated as well. So yeah, you just got to fly people out and send them somewhere else. That's nuts. I hope to God this didn't happen on Christmas Day.
Possible.
Christmas Day, 1974. Darwin, a city
It was
all but
Christmas
blown
Day.
off the map. Overnight, Cyclone Tracy had struck with such force, many believed they were the only survivors.
Is anyone here? Is anyone alive?
How many people are dead? I mean, where's everybody that was in those houses?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
One of Australia's biggest natural disasters was caused by what at the time was the world's smallest recorded tropical cyclone. Tracy's gale-forced winds extended
Really?
only 48 kilometres from its centre. But by the time it hit land here at East Point in the early hours of Christmas Day 1974, it was so compressed, so tightly wound, it was Category 4 with winds, it's believed, gusting up to 250 kilometres an hour. Darwin was directly in its path within hours. 80% of the houses here were destroyed.
80% of the houses were destroyed? Holy shit. I had no idea it was that crazy.
4 days before Christmas, Authorities declare a tropical cyclone named Tracy. Soon its powerful winds intensify, but it's only crawling along at 9 kilometers an hour. Over the coming days,
Slow.
it skirts around the Tiwi Islands. By 6 a.m. Christmas Eve, Tracy fatefully heads east, slowly creeping towards the mainland at 4 kilometers an hour. By 3 p.m., she's rapidly picking up wind speed and is now on track for disaster.
Jeez. I'm like, I keep thinking, I'm like, are the houses built up high for flooding? But I think just realistically, the walls just completely just got ripped off. So the houses just look so you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you ever seen like homes that are on the beach that are like lifted up so when the water comes in. I don't think that's the case here. Maybe some of them, but for the most part, I think just the entire walls were just ripped off. That's insane.
Our next door neighbour helped us get out, otherwise he wouldn't be here to tell you about it. There was a lot of people being killed, not injured. It's terrible. The house started to break up, and then we got into the hallway, and then we decided that that wasn't so safe, so we ended up underneath the table for 5 hours in the bathroom with Nigel, my son, and a dog.
It's an incredible mess.
No, well, it's a mess. It is a beauty. I've never struck anything like this in my life before. I've never seen anything so. It doesn't matter where you're going down, you see the same thing. It's a complete
This is
and utter
so
disaster
powerful.
area.
You know, we felt the turn around because we were in the bedrooms in the cabin and sort of lift the whole place up almost. Looks as though it's just been bombed. Everything's flat and there's roofs up everywhere.
I flew over Darwin yesterday for about 20 minutes, and I can tell you that the place is very reminiscent of Hiroshima.
What happened to your house?
Of Hiroshima. That's, oh my gosh.
What happened?
The house broke.
Broke. How did it break?
The break came and took it away and then it broke.
So that's me in the bath.
Mark Williams knows Tracy better than most. He was working with the Darwin Weather Bureau when the cyclone tore his world apart.
We had no idea how bad or how strong the winds were going to be. The wind just got stronger and stronger. The roof was lifted off, and it just came off in an instant. I'll never forget that sound. It was like aluminium foil. It just went gone. What this shows us is that is the centre, that is the eye, and it had 3 concentric circles of rain around it, and that's very rare. That was sort of a pretty good indication that we were dealing with a very intense system. But it was very difficult to get people to actually take action, and I think that caught a lot of people by surprise. And it was partly because
yeah, you have to pay attention to the warnings. And I'm going to be completely honest, I'm actually pretty bad at this because here where I live in Tornado Alley, so we get sirens that will go off occasionally when we have a big storm come through. My wife has like the alarm that's next to the bed that goes off for any alert system. She's got all the notifications from X. She watches the YouTube channels. She goes pretty crazy. Like, she's really on top of it to where, you know, we have our little cubby that we go in that's underneath the stairs. We really need a storm shelter. I probably should buy one. They're just crazy expensive. But yeah, especially like when it's coming, I try and keep calm though. Like, I'm a little bit more chill. I will watch, we have a couple of channels on YouTube that we watch that cover all the storms in the US, and I'll watch them and kind of like gauge, like I won't freak out too much. She's kind of running around. She's like putting food in there and water, and hey, bless her, right, for actually doing that. But, you know, I'm kind of like nonchalant about it until I get the notification on my phone. When you get the one come through on the phone and it tells you seek shelter immediately, that's when I'm like, all right, it's serious. Get in the shelter. But some people just don't take them too seriously, and it's a common theme. It just sucks. Yeah. Everyone thinks that, oh, it's not going to happen. But hurricanes and cyclones, a little bit different, though, because they're much more predictable than something like what we deal with tornadoes.
There'd been a scare about 3 weeks before with a much weaker cyclone, which moved towards Darwin, got very close and then petered out. And people thought there was a bit of a cry wolf syndrome.
Yeah.
The first thing that was on our mind was that we thought we were probably the only ones who'd lived in that area because the devastation was just so bad.
I would think the same thing if I came out and saw that.
This is St Mary's Star of the Sea Cathedral in Smith Street in Darwin, which is where I was on Christmas Eve attending midnight mass with my sister.
At what stage did you realise something horrendous was happening outside?
The noise, there were windows at the top that were falling in, and then not long after communion, the power went off.
Alan Haynes was 20 years old in 1974. All these years on, the thought of hearing that noise again is just too much.
Sounds horrible. Just flipped an entire car over. Jesus.
I don't think we slept for days. If you put your head down, the fear was that you were going to start thinking about it and you would start living the consequences. And that was too much. So you just didn't.
Oh my gosh.
And listening to the stories of people who were living in the northern suburbs who had their entire homes just blown away and lost family still brings me to tears.
Yeah, I'm really afraid to hear how many people died from this.
It was a dreadful lot of noise because all of the iron was flying off houses. At first you couldn't believe that it was iron going, and then it was crashing all around you. And even as the iron came off this roof and the water came in on Jack, you just didn't know when it was going to stop. The house was swaying.
The howling of the wind, it sounded like, I don't know, 100 freight trains or something.
But then the eye came, and it went quiet. It was the eeriest quiet you've ever...
Ooh, I just got chills up my back. Ooh. Oh, can you imagine? I honestly, I guarantee there's probably somebody that was in this that's watching this right now. Being in the eye and then knowing that you have more coming right after. Oh my God. That's got to be so frightening.
Was more vicious the second time round. Second time round was the sheer wind and the rumbling, and everything just shook. The whole house shook. Everything shook.
Yeah, and like everything was probably a little bit already torn up, you know? Like things were ripped apart, and then when the second pass comes, oh.
It was, and the wind just howled and howled and howled, and that's when I thought we were really going to go.
That looks unreal.
Darwin has survived many disasters. The northern capital was first devastated in 1897 with what was called the Great Cyclone. It was slammed again by another cyclone in 1937. 5 years later, Darwin was bombed by Japan. But for a city that has endured so much, Tracy was to prove.
We are going to cover this, by the way, the bombing by Japan. I do have those videos queued up for whoever recommended them.
The worst.
It's risen from the ashes 4 times, but Cyclone Tracy is in living memory, and that's what makes it so much more poignant and powerful for people that went through it, because there's so many people that still remember it.
There's
Yeah,
probably
I mean,
about
it's what,
9 adults
74 they said?
in a bathroom toilet. We had filled the bathtub with water, as we had been told to do, and unbeknownst to us, the gentleman drained the bathtub so his wife could lay down. And so everybody's thinking, what the hell's going on outside? The whole town is falling apart. This woman's about to give birth in our bathtub, and none of us have ever been through any of this stuff. So
That's crazy.
and all the while, the wind just kept howling and roaring, and it lives with you.
Oh, we were going to die. There was no doubt about it. We were all praying, and we were all together going like, saying goodbye. It was hard.
Oh my God.
Why did you do this scrapbook?
Really to keep me sane.
Here's a note that you wrote. Can you read that for us, that part?
Sure. Our home was a shambles. The kitchen and bathroom had the ceiling caved in. No roof, no back veranda, only the roof and front steps.
And the photo of you?
I had just turned 17, so I was helping to organise, and I was thrown into some dresses and some outfits to model at a ladies' lunch to help boost the morale and the spirit of the women of Darwin. So this was actually done in the Travelodge Hotel, which is the very famous, iconic photo of the cars that were in the pool outside. That's the same hotel this was done.
It's just wonderful to be able to finally recognise.
I don't think I've ever seen a hurricane this bad. Like, I've watched some of these videos of the ones that have hit in like Florida, Georgia, obviously the famous one that was in New Orleans, infamous. I'm sorry I said famous. The infamous one in New Orleans, but this is by far got to be some of the most damage that I've ever seen.
That we were completely destroyed, and we had lives that were completely disrupted, including my own and my own family's. And, you know, hey, next year, in 10 years' time, we probably won't all be here.
When Cyclone Tracy hit Darwin, the rest of Australia was waking up to Christmas morning. It would be 9 hours before the full scale of the disaster reached the government in Canberra. Phone lines had been knocked out. Darwin was a city cut off from the outside world. Dr. Jim Cairns arrived on Boxing Day.
Dr. Cairns, you've just seen Darwin from there. What's your first reaction?
It's just unbelievable. You wouldn't imagine that a cyclonic storm could do so much damage. There's hardly a building that you can see from the aircraft that isn't wrecked.
There.
Will you leave Darwin?
No. I don't want to, no. We'll be the last ones out.
We'll be the last ones.
I love that she still has her 70s hair roll in. It's so funny. I know this is probably how she was. This is what she was doing probably on when it happened. And she just, I mean, your entire life gets turned upside down. It's kind of funny though. You haven't seen those since the 70s.
For so many, there was no other option but to go. 66 people were dead. Many, many more were injured. With limited shelter, no water, no power, Christmas food soon to spoil. 35,000 of Darwin's 45,000 residents were to be evacuated to other states, the nation banding together for a huge relief effort.
More than 600 people per trip, and 727s have been taking out nearly 300. And the air forces of New Zealand and Britain and the United States have also been helping to evacuate people.
And we were just labelled, you know, this child, children were being written on, you know, the address of where they were going and who they were being written on their arms and their backs. But we didn't want to go at all. When we were evacuated, it was quite a horrific ordeal because we were just herded like cattle, like refugees are today, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we haven't got a house to live in and the home's just wrecked. I will return once I've got something to come back to, but at the moment I've got 3 kids to look after and I've got to get out of the place. It's just not worth the stay here.
Now, if you think 50 years ago, there were no mobile phones. There was no social media. We had little communication. We all got scattered. We had no idea where our friends and family were. We had no information on what was going on anywhere.
That's gotta be so scary.
If you think about it,
you don't even know if like some of your family members are alive. Oh my gosh.
With all my friends, really didn't graduate school as such. There was no school celebration. You know, I was 16, I was, you know, on a high as any young girl was, and your world just collapses around you. And so it wasn't just the trauma of the horrid wind and the horrid night and, you know, really thinking that you weren't going to survive at all. It was the aftermath was probably more intense.
Yeah. It may be dead now, but Darwin will live again.
It will be better for them to live than ever before.
And within minutes, the house started falling apart. And I said, oh God, I think we're going to die. And she said, it looks like it.
This particular matter.
Darryl Manzi, the Attorney-General made famous during the Lindy Chamberlain trial, was a police sergeant at the time of Tracy and the Wild West aftermath.
So I had guys that had, a couple of guys that had stolen some rifles and were shooting at cars trying to get them to stop so they could drive them out of town. They were prisoners that had escaped. Well, they hadn't escaped, the walls had fallen down the prison. And it's really, really strange when you're living in a place and you've got phones and electricity and water and sewage, petrol, cars, suddenly you don't have any, no shop.
Man, there's so much to this. I didn't even think about like actual crime that might happen afterwards because everything is just completely turned upside down. Damn. Oh.
What do you do?
It's hard to believe that these city streets of Darwin just a few days ago were crammed with Christmas shoppers. There's hardly a shop or department store not damaged. While more supplies are being flown in, all these people are requested to do is give the number of family dependents and the appropriate amount of food is given without charge.
It's an image that flashed around the world, showing Darwin's defiance in the wake of Tracy.
Hi, I'm John Garner.
I was going to say, is that
this
Tracy
was my,
image?
well, there's a replica of my car.
50 years on, that replica takes pride of place in the Northern Territory Museum. The Tirana precisely crushed to match Darwin's most infamous car.
The wall of the end of the building had just fallen over and fell straight on the car, flattened on my lovely Tirana, and that's what I painted.
Why that?
There probably was anger there, but frustration more than anything. And I just wanted to let people know what I thought of Tracy. It was
kind of a dumb question from the interviewer. Well, why'd you paint that? Like, what do you mean, why did I paint that?
Tongue-in-cheek, it was a bit of fun.
And that became one of the symbols of Cyclone Tracy. Everyone in Darwin could relate to that. That's how they felt about Tracy as well, but he actually put it in words.
Yeah.
Walk the streets of Darwin now and there's no clue that 50 years ago this entire area was flattened. The rebuild here has been massive. Darwin is consistently one of Australia's fastest growing regions and locals are very proud of the way their city, their community has fought back.
I think that's the story of the place. I think it's the heart and soul of the place.
Very proud of Darwin, the resilience of the people of Darwin, but also the fact that Darwin is here to stay.
Understanding you're not on your own, understanding the preciousness of life.
You know what? We're not waiting for Christmas lunch or dinner to cut our ham and turkey. We're going to cut it now. We don't wait because there might be a cyclone and it might take our ham away.
There was no question
that Darwin wouldn't rise from the ashes.
That looks like my dad.
You plan to come back?
Yes, as soon as I can.
You're a Darwinite?
Yep.
And you're convinced the city still has a future?
I'm sure it has.
Tomorrow morning, the Prime Minister and Governor-General will unveil a new memorial in Darwin.
It will be the culmination of 5 decades of waiting for some memorial recognition of that event.
Yeah, it's wild.
Believe
no memorial yet?
that this
Or,
memorial
obviously they almost
will,
have it done.
for some, give
Or it's
final
probably done by now. This
closure
was a year
to
ago.
those events 50 years ago.
So weird. That guy reminds me of my dad so much. I think it's just all the white hair. If you guys have noticed, like, I have a ton of white hair. I'm only 35. My hair will be completely white by the time I'm 40.
Once the momentum, once the wheel started rolling and the reconstruction, everybody was into it. There was camaraderie, there was friendship.
Everyone coming together. Oh, wow.
I'm not fazed by the idea of another cyclone. Maybe that bravado, maybe that stupidity. But having survived Tracy, I think I can survive just about anything.
Dang. All right. Really, really amazing video. Hopefully I can get it out to you guys anytime. I swear, the video is over. So there's, if you're still watching now, a little inside scoop. I do other content as well. And Australia is the hardest country. Things just get so restricted in Australia. It's really, really hard to put some of these reactions out. I have many of them that you guys have never seen just because they just get blocked. So hopefully this gets out to y'all. I really, really hope, because this is very powerful. All right, I'm getting out of here. Appreciate you watching. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.